I'm Doug Grummins. I'm going to be your host today and share a few Zen stories or Sufi stories and maybe throw in a serpent story too. But let's start maybe with the surfing story. So I used to live on the East Coast. I lived in Virginia Beach, and I lived in a part of town that was 7 miles from two of the best beaches to go surfing in Virginia. And that was great. I loved it. And also, my weekends I would spend driving down to the Outer Banks, because even though the waves are pretty decent in Virginia Beach, they're way better. It's almost like a world class wave down in North Carolina, and usually well worth the trip, especially once they came up with swell forecasting sites. But anyway, this one time I decided to go down to North Carolina by myself. Sometimes I had friends that would go with me or a friend would go with me, but most trips I down there I just did solo trips. And anyway, it's 2 hour drive to get from Virginia Beach to the Outer Banks, and then another hour if you want to get down to this place called the Lighthouse on the Cape Hatteras seashore. And usually that was probably the best spot for, well, for lefts for sure, but for surfing in general. Anything that's coming from the north or northerly directions would pump swell down, and it hit that spot and just break like crazy. So it was really nice. And then the southern beaches are start almost right where the Cape Hatteras Lighthouse is. You could drive down the beach a little bit, and there's a point where the south beaches meet the north beaches. And sometimes you can score on the southern beaches whenever there's a swell coming out of the south. I'm giving all the secrets away for North Carolina. Sorry, folks. But anyway, this I drove down expecting some pretty big surf, um, down to the Outer Banks and from Virginia Beach, and so I loaded up my gun and went down kind of early in the morning. Got up early and jetted down there because I knew it was going to be big. I knew it was going to be fun. But I got down to the beach and um, something just told me to keep on driving. So I drove down to the lighthouse and I looked at it, and it was amazing. I mean, it was probably somewhere between 12 to 18 feet, barreling waves of tons of power. So much power that the white water bounced like 30, 40 feet high in front of each one of these waves. Um, so I sat there and I watched a couple surfers try to get out and get into the lineup. Um, the waves were kind of like breaking diagonally to the beach instead of coming right towards the beach. And uh, is very tricky to try to get out. Um, I watched several guys try and several guys fail. Now there was a couple kiteboarders that could do it. They could get out because the kite would pull them up over the big 20 foot or 12 to 18 foot feet swells, and they would just fly up and over them. And they were amazing. These guys on these kites, they could actually get barreled and so deep in the barrel that the wave is going over the lines of their kite, but the kite is still pulling them out of the barrel. It's kind of an amazing thing to watch if you ever get to see really good kiteboarders out in great conditions like that. The kiteboarders were also like when they would turn to go back out to sea a little bit, they would ride up the wave and they would just launch 20, 30 feet in the air, do a couple spins in the air, and then come down and stick it. And it was just amazing to watch. So then I went to the store and got a Red Bull and a energy bar and a Red Bull, maybe two Red Bulls from what I remember. But then I went back and I sat and I watched it, and it was just insane. I mean, it's like these are like Hawaiian waves here on the eastern coast, and I sat and watched it for a while, and then I gathered up enough courage to get my board, wax it up, and try to break out. I noticed that there was a little bit of a lull between the sets now, as time passed, as the morning passed, and myself and two young guys. I think I was in my 30s when this happened, um, but myself and two young cats, probably in their teens, decided to paddle out together and give it a shot. And so we did. We paddled behind the break wall. There's a metal break wall right there at the where the lighthouse used to sit. And we paddled out, and then we waited our set until a big one come by, and then we just paddled our asses off, and we got all the way out to the outside, and we got in position. And it wasn't then until I looked around my surroundings, and I'm like, oh shit, what did I just do? What did I just do? I mean, help, my mic's on. So anyway, yeah, I guess the mic is working good. So I sat there for a few minutes, and I saw this one beautiful, probably about an 8 to 10 foot wave come my way. And I turned and I took it, and I got slotted, and I got barreled, and I rode the wave all the way. It wasn't to the shore, but it was close to the shore. And the current was so strong that it probably pushed me almost a mile down the beach riding that one wave. And getting out of the water is a trick too, because on the East Coast, the sandbank's very steep, and the water just kind of pounds like 5 foot shore break right onto the sand. If you time it wrong, you could really get hurt. Because one time, I think after that, a couple years after that, I tried to time it to go to shore, and ended up headbutting the sandbar. I mean, I just went, pow, straight into the sandbar. Oh man, it hurt so bad. I had to lie on the beach for about 30 minutes before I felt that I wasn't going to be paralyzed. So anyway, I rode that one wave, and it was beautiful, and it was amazing, and it was scary, and everything all combined together. And I decided to go to shore because I was a mile down the beach. I wasn't going to try to paddle back out. That would just been dumb. But I walked back up to my truck, and basically realized that I got lucky once. And if I don't know, if I felt like if I tried to go back out into that mess and something went wrong, first off, there's no hospital near you. Back in those days, the Outer Banks didn't have a hospital. I think they had maybe an ER somewhere, but from what I knew, there was no hospital. But then they built one, and actually the company I was working for at the time had something to do with helping build that hospital there. So that was kind of nice. That's kind of a nice feeling, because I mean, if you get hurt out there, for one, you're an hour away from the nearest hospital, at least an hour and a half drive. Once they built the hospital in Nag's Head. So scary times, but I've made hundreds and hundreds of trips from Virginia Beach down to the Outer Banks by myself, sometimes with a friend, but for the most part, it was just me on a solo trip, and a lot of times it'd be kind of cool, because you'd find a spot where you get lucky and maybe get like waist to chest high barrels all by yourself, but you didn't mind it if a few guys peeked over the big 20-foot sandbars, had a look at you and watched you having so much fun. Then they decide to come and join you. You really didn't mind a little bit of company, because I mean, there's this joy about surfing alone. It's a soul experience that's like no other. I mean, skydiving alone is kind of fun, but skydiving with other people is a little bit funner because you have a reference to what's going on. But out in the water, it's a totally different scenario. A soul session by yourself is just amazing. Of course, there's no talking. There's just, sometimes I chant at the ocean and sing to the ocean and pray for a wave to come my way. But I guess the story I wanted to associate this with is that, well, I realized a lot of things when I lived on the East Coast, but I lived about 4 hours from the ski resort, Wintergreen Ski Resort. And I know Wintergreen is not the name you want to associate with snowboarding, but anyway, I I would drive all these hours to go surfing. So 6 hours of driving to go surfing for 3 or 4 hours, and that was a good trade-off. And then eventually, I decided that it was good to um, do the same for snowboarding. So I would have day trips by myself, driving up to Wintergreen from Virginia Beach. It's about a 4 hour drive, 2 hours to Richmond, and then about another hour, hour and a half past Richmond. And that was fun. I mean, Wintergreen had a special pass that you could start skiing or snowboarding at noon and ride till 4 or 5 in the evening. So that was, I mean, you can get plenty of runs in those that many hours. And in fact, you'll probably be a little bit tired if you constantly snowboard for 4.5 hours without taking any major breaks. Then you're going to be tired. That's just the way it is. Maybe the young guys can hold out for 8 hours, but yeah, those are good. Those are good times and good days. So here's your story for today. This is one of my favorite Zen stories. So once upon a time, there lived a fisherman. I'm trying to get this mic close by so we get good audio. So there was this fisherman, an older fisherman, uh, who lived by the side of the river in a hut. And this fisherman would get up before the daybreak, and every morning he would walk down to his favorite fishing spot along the river's edge, which was rocky and muddy and sandy, and um, just all these different terrains that were on the banks of the river. But he would walk in the dark down to a spot, and then cast out his reel and go fishing every day before the sun came up. And one time he was walking early morning before the sun came up. I keep iterating that point. So it was dark. Yeah, it was dark. And he stumbled on something, and he looked down and he couldn't really see what it was, but he picked it up and it was a bag full of rocks. So the fisherman picked up the bag of rocks, didn't think too much about it, put them in his pocket, then walked down to his fishing spot, and he casted out his reel into the water and was waiting for a bite. And in the meantime, he's thought about that bag of rocks that he came across. So he grabs the bag of rocks and pulls them out of his pocket, and then he picks a rock out of the thing. Says, "Oh, it's kind of smooth," and he didn't know what to do with the rock. He just says, "Well, maybe this is good. This is so smooth. Maybe it's a good skipping rock." So he took the rock and he went boom, 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 and skipped it all the way out into the wide, deep river, and the rock was gone forever. And he thought that was fun. That was entertaining. So he reached into the bag and grabbed another rock, and he grabbed it and he went beep, 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 and skipped it along the surface of the river, and then it was gone too. He kept this up all morning until the very last rock, which was kind of a big one. The very last rock was one of the biggest rocks, but he grabbed this rock, the last one, and he lifted it up to throw it, and then a beam of light from the morning came through, and it shined through the rock. He noticed the rock was kind of clear at that point, and he looked at the rock and he looked closer and he's like, "Oh my God, that's a big diamond. Oh wow, I'm rich. So he was rich from this one diamond. But then a sorrow came in. Then he started feeling a little bit sad, and just a little upset because he didn't know if the rest of those rocks that he skipped out into the water, he didn't know if those were diamonds or if those were rocks. He had no way of knowing because there was no light. Without light, you can't see. So anyway, I guess the fisherman went back to shore and um, was wealthy, but he was also sad because he realized he could have been very wealthy and not have to worry about anything for the rest of his life. I mean, everything would have been taken care of from that moment on if he had all those diamonds. But that's the way life goes. Um, we, as seekers, or just as surfers or skydivers or uh, friends of anyone who has ever tried to meditate or tried to dive into their spirituality, you come to realize that all these things that happen in your life, um, it could be anything. Surfing, it's things I like. I'll just use as examples: skydiving, surfing, snowboarding, um, riding bikes, riding motorcycles. Um, it could be doing the yard. Doing the yard could actually be a diamond. It depends on how you do it. And a lot of people go throughout their whole lives tossing away the diamonds, not knowing they're diamonds. I mean, even sex can be considered a diamond if you're doing it in a tantric way, if you're doing it with awareness and not trying to be the doer or the enjoyer. So if you're just being the witness during this thing, then it becomes a diamond. But I'm not here to tell you what all the diamonds are. I'm here to tell you to practice awareness, to bring light into everything you do, every little chore you do, or everything you enjoy doing. Bring that amount of awareness into it. Bring that amount of light into it, and then your life will change. Then you'll realize that you have a bag full of diamonds. Just don't be that person that waits till they're 80, 90 years old and threw away everything in life. Just disassociated himself with it because he felt like it was just a rock. Maybe it's just a lump of coal to him. But that's kind of the way life goes. Unfortunately, for a lot of people, that it's okay to have one last diamond when you're old. So I'm not saying that's not a bad thing. That's better than throwing that last rock away and then passing away and not have any riches. And those kind of riches that I'm talking about are not material wealth riches. They are richness of experience, richness of growth and of love and compassion and beauty and vibrating with bliss. All these things we carry on to our next lives, if there is another life. Maybe that's the whole purpose of life, is to realize the diamonds. And once you get that point, once you realize all that, then maybe there's something else beyond life that is the next step. I mean, yeah, I kind of believe there is a place called heaven. Mostly because I had a dream once. And I didn't know if it was a dream or if it really happened. And I'll share it with you. We got time. Let's see. Everything looks good. I know I'm looking up and I look goofy, but yeah, we're streaming live right now, but it's cool. Nobody's watching, so I'm just talking to myself. That's cool too, because if I don't care if anybody listens or not, I will still talk. I'll still share my passion, and I'm recording these recordings too. So they're not just live; they're also going to be aired on YouTube and what else is there? YouTube and Twitch and um, Facebook, I guess, live too. So, all right. So I lost my train of thought, but um, I guess maybe I should end it then with just this. I was going to share another story with you, but I lost my train of thought, and um, hmm, I'll put you on mute for a second, and then I'll try to think about what I was going to say. um, I've been reading quite a lot about uh, Indian philosophy, and they've got Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Brahma's the creator, Vishnu's the sustainer, and Shiva is the destroyer. Um, and I mentioned in a video I made the other day that if you want to reassociate yourself with oneness, with wholeness, with godliness, there's three words for that mean all the same thing. Then you have to go backwards in direction from the way you're going. If you're going outward and seeking outward, then you have to turn around and go inward, and you have to reverse the direction. So to reach godliness, you have to go back from where he started. And the first thing that happens is when you turn around and you turn inside and you go backwards, then the many become three. And like I said, in the Hindu philosophy, Brahma's the creator, Vishnu's the sustainer, and Shiva is the destroyer. They have this trinity, this triology, this trinity that Trimurti is what they call it in Hindu. And then once you face the three, you realize that the three are all combined and are all together and all mean the same thing. Like we have the electron, the neutron, and the proton in an atom. The three become one and become one thing. There's one universal force basically holding the electron, neutron, and protons all together into an atom. And scientists have realized that this force is universal. It's everywhere. It's holding everything together. I don't know if that's the same as the Higgs boson particle that they just discovered in 2012, which was kind of a cool thing. I mean, no matter which way you're swayed towards it, it's just an interesting thing to realize that there's something there that's holding everything together. Spiritual people may call it God and try to take advantage of that situation. Scientists just call it, I don't know what the hell they call it, but so you face the three, and the three can also be the witness, like if you're witnessing something, awareness, and what you're observing. So there's you're witnessing, and the observed. So there's three things, and those three things can be turn around inward towards your center while you're meditating or just relaxing. Anytime you're just like lying out in the sun and enjoying yourself, just close your eyes and go within, and you realize the three that you're there witnessing. Your eyes are closed, so you're seeing something that maybe if you're blind, you're not seeing anything, but that's not important. There's more types of light than just that can be seen by the human eye or the naked eye. The third eye has different things going on with it. And I kind of believe that the top three chakras, the throat, the third eye, and the crown, all have something to do with Vishnu, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Um, like I said, Brahma being the creator is worshipped in India a little bit. Um, Vishnu, the sustainer, there's no temples, or there's not too many temples for the sustainer. And I wondered why, and I thought about it, but there are tons of temples and places to worship for Shiva, the destroyer. And I kind of realized that since you are the sustainer yourselves, we are sustaining life. We're the ones burdened with carrying on life and extending it and helping it to have something to grow into. That's kind of our duty, to raise children, and raise people and help people on their spiritual journey. And that is the alignment with Vishnu, the sustainer, who's never even worshipped or never even mentioned, because we are that. That is, we are part of the Trinity. And I guess if you try to associate the Trinity in the Western world, then they say they have Jesus, God, and the Holy Spirit. But the Trinity was before Jesus ever was around anyway, because in India they had the Shiva, the destroyer, and I think it's depicted as a several-armed person with a whole woman or something holding the head in one hand and a knife in the other. But yeah, it's kind of a spooky looking thing. But and then we have the person that kind of blame things on or break things down, and maybe that would be the essence of what Satan is to the Western world. But the three work together to sustain life, and you must face the three first, then go beyond the three and realize that the three are one, and then the magic starts to happen. Then you become closer to the center and you experience samadhi, this pure essence of being and non-being. You dissolve into samadhi and you go beyond yourself, and you basically experience something very beautiful and something that not a lot of people ever get to really experience. It's crazy. It's God in pure form. But you can't say that you've met God, because whenever this happens, whenever samadhi happens, you disappear. You dissolve into it. So you're gone. So nobody can ever say, "Hey, I met God." If somebody says to you, "Oh, I've seen God," or "I've met God," then they may have seen one of the three branches of what God was, and for a while they may have been turned. I'm gonna get a drink. They may have gotten turned inwards towards the three that we mentioned briefly, but maybe it scared them, or an illusion happened where they felt like God sent them a message or something like that. But the true one, that's all the three combined, the one force that's behind all of everything, basically cannot be experienced. And the only way that you know that you've experienced it is when you come out of that samadhi, when you come out of that deep meditation. You're soaked with bliss. I mean, you are just drenched with this extreme bliss that I have had times where I couldn't get off the floor for 45 minutes. I just lying there, and my wife would knock on the door. Hey, Doug, you okay in there? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. I'll be out in a minute. Just totally absorbed in and enjoying the moment and the bliss that comes from being in that deep meditation. But I'm gonna give a little bit of a forewarning on that, because also you cannot look for that experience to happen. If you're looking, then you're going in the opposite direction. Okay, you're going outwards. So to dissolve, you have to go inwards, but you have to let go. You have to receive and be in a receptive mode, because looking for it or desiring it will keep it away, and it won't ever let it happen. So, okay, so those are a few key pointers to keep focus on in life. Meditate often. Allow yourself to be in a state of let go when you meditate. Practice whatever means you need to get to a deep state of meditation. But apparently, what you're looking for is for an emptiness to come in front of your eyes, into your being, and let that emptiness have no thought. And then if you hold that feeling for 10-15 minutes, then you dive into what I call what real meditation is. All that happens up to that point is not meditation. Meditation is the essence that takes over when you go in deep and you let go and you let existence take your body and fill your body full of love and full of bliss. And when you do that, when you practice meditation like that daily or almost every day, you'll find you won't need to sleep as much. And don't take me wrong, I sleep plenty now. I do have sleeping problems now and then, but I just take some melatonin and crashes me out, and I have nice dreams, and I like that. And a lot of times in my dreams, I become aware that I'm dreaming, and I know that it's a dream, and I just play with it. I just keep going with it. It's like, all right, we're dreaming, we're having fun. And so many cool and wonderful things can happen to you when that happens, because what that does is it allows your body the time to rest. This dreaming allows your body to get refilled with God's essence. In fact, I have read this and I kind of believe it. So I've read that you go into deep sleep for a very short period of time when you go to sleep at night. Most of the night you're spent in dreams, but you go into a deep sleep, and in that deep sleep you may be there for like 30-40 minutes at a time, and then you go in and out of that state as you spend your night sleeping. But within those 30-40 minutes, there's a window of about 5 or 6 minutes, and scientists have recorded this too, that the brain stops working. It stops, brain waves just stop functioning for 5 or 6 minutes while you're in a deep sleep. And that's the moment where God gets to come in and give you this samadhi feeling, but you're not conscious, so you don't see it. You're not aware of it, so it happens in your subconscious, and that's how we all cope day to day. And if you don't sleep that night, if you have insomnia and you don't sleep that well, excuse my nose, then you don't get that recharge, and you need that deep sleep recharge, because I mean, even if you sleep for 2 hours, if you get 30 minutes of deep sleep, you're going to be okay. You can survive on 2 hours of sleep. I've done it many times, and I mean, it's not the greatest. It's hard, and you go through the day making mistakes that you normally wouldn't make. You go through your day just doing dumb shit, and you ask yourself, "Oh crap! I guess I'm just tired." But anyway, so yeah, deep sleep is a light form of samadhi. But in meditation, you can go into that deep sleep and that brainless, waveless state for 30, 40, maybe 50 minutes up to an hour easily. But we call it divine wine, taking in divine wine. And that divine wine is just amazing. I don't do it like I used to. I guess I've soaked up so much bliss that my body just carries it with me throughout the day. I've learned not to leak my energy. I've learned where energy escapes from the body, and then how to rebuild that energy. I've learned how to fall asleep meditating. So with that in mind, you kind of meditate through the whole night anyway. And then you'll wake up in the morning still in a state of meditation. And those are beautiful nights. Some of those nights you don't even have dreams. When you go into samadhi for 8 hours versus like 5 minutes. It's the difference is quantitative, and the quality is amazing. So I guess we'll end it there, folks. Thanks for watching this. I appreciate all you guys taking the time out to listen to a few cool stories and maybe a lesson to learn here and there and grow from. But that's what I'm here for. I'm here for all of you to learn to develop into highly spiritual, highly um, functioning individuals, and just how to live a beautiful life, how to experience life in a witness state. Um, yeah, so I guess we'll end it there. Okay, guys, I'm gonna move this up here. I know I'm looking away. I don't mean to be goofy. But anyway, thanks for watching. Aloha and mahalos to all you beautiful people and all you beautiful surfers. Our hearts still go out to our friends in Florida, and it's amazing the love that's been poured into Florida. And people are just getting by with the help of their neighbors and everything. It's just so beautiful. That's what happens here in Galveston too. When we get a bad storm, all the young cats, do what they can to help everybody to get past the terrible part and back to normal life. That's the risk we take when we live close to the shore. That's just the way life goes when you take that risk and decide. Well, I mean, living by the coast is one of the most amazing things in the world, but it has its ups and downs, and hurricanes are definitely one of those downs. All right, y'all. Thank